Yes.
So there's a question question related to EDU 101, Islamic Theory of Education. It's about charging for teaching Quran.
Yes.
The question is, can you please elaborate on Quran teachers charging a fee for teaching Quran, as we are still not sure from the lecture? Related question, in a madrasa, the administration have a system of paying teachers so that they are able to enforce accountability. They also say that for anyone not wishing to take the fee, they can return it in a box placed nearby. Should a madrasa pay a teacher to teach whether Quran or any other Islamic subject?
Yeah. This is a very complex issue, very sophisticated issue. Many madrasas don't pay, and it's all on voluntary basis, which is very good. But sometimes they say that the quality goes down because, unfortunately, sometimes when people do something voluntarily, they don't take it seriously. My suggestion is that if possible, we keep it free, but make sure that the quality is very high. Then for the people who may have need, we can tell them, if you like, we can, help you. We can give you, with all respect and confidentiality, gifts that would be proportionate to what they teach. But if there are people who don't need, or, as a general pattern, maybe we don't make it a kind of norm that you teach Quran and you take money. But if you see, no, this is not going to work, and in your circumstances, either because most of people are needy or most of people are not used to voluntary work, and the whole quality will go down, then unfortunately we have to pay, because we don't want to compromise about the quality. So first, we aim at having it on a voluntary basis and encourage people about this, appreciate, and only for those people who may have need, we can give them especially in a separate way. But if this is not working and you are going to lose good teachers, you are going to cancel your classes or quality goes down, then you have to pay. Normally, ulama say we cannot charge for anything which is wajib to teach. So, for example, the basic aqa'id, very basic, that much which is wajib. The basic ahkam, we cannot charge, some ulama say. But, for example, they say they can charge for coming and going, for transportation. Or they can charge for teaching more details, or mustahabbat. Or, for example, tajweed, that much which is more than reciting your salat properly. Reciting your salat properly is wajib to teach and to learn. But something more than that becomes not wajib, so you can charge. So this problem can be sorted out this way. The main thing is, as a policy, we should try to keep certain positions in the community for volunteers and encourage the culture of volunteering. One of the positions which is very good to be open for volunteers is madrasa admin and teachers. But if it is going to lead to losing good teachers or losing good quality, then, as I said, then we have to accept payment. I mean, making payment.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, Sheikhna?
Yes.
Okay. So the next question is about understanding Quran, UQ 101. So it is about the knowledge of the hujjah given on Laylatul Qadr.
Mm-hmm.
there is special knowledge about the coming year that is given to the Hujjah in the night of Qadr.
Yes.
It was my impression that someone must always carry this knowledge for the sake of humanity. You said in Quran lecture number 6 that Imam Ali alayhi salam received this knowledge the first Qadr night after the Prophet died. So, to my understanding, there would be no one having this knowledge between the Prophet's death and the time that Imam Ali alayhi salam received it that next Qadr. Is that correct? If it is correct, I wonder if my impression was wrong about the necessity of someone to always carry this knowledge. Did Imam Ali alayhi salam work only with the ilm until he received the special knowledge of Qadr? What is your understanding, if you please?
Yeah, thank you very much. Very good question. My humble understanding is that when someone becomes a Hujjah of Allah, he would know everything that he needs for this position. He may not necessarily know all the details. And if he wants to know, when he needs to know, yes. For example, he doesn't need to know whether this dress that he is now going to put on is tahir or najis. Sometimes even we have hadith that Imam Sadiq, for example, alayhi salam, pour or splash some water on his dress so that it's not known that, for example, was touched by something najis, which when he was passing by something like this. So they didn't want to act in their life very much different from our way of acting. Our way of acting is based on what we call zawahir al-umur. So we follow rules and regulations. We don't know ilmul ghaib. They also try to behave in most of the time like that. So if they wanted to know, for example, this meat is slaughtered properly or not, they could know. But sometimes they didn't want to know. For example, we have a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says about, the people who used to slaughter. He said, Wallahi ma adhunnu kullahum yusammun. By Allah, I don't think all of them mention Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But it's a Muslim market, Muslim souk. And when you buy from Muslim souk, you assume, according to Asalatu Siha, that they have slaughtered properly, as long as there is a possibility that Muslims have been careful. So, a Hujjah of Allah can know all the details, but when needed, when he wants. So it's not that actually he knows all the details. This is one point. The second point is also their way of knowing is different. How clear it is different. The knowledge that they receive in the night of Qadr with respect to the next 12 months is very, very clear and more detailed. So even, for example, what is going to happen after 20 years or 200 years, they can decide to know. But they may not decide to know everything that is going to happen in 200 years. And even if they decide to know, it may not be as clear and as detailed as the knowledge that they receive in Laylatul Qadr for the next 12 months. And I think I might have mentioned in that series, if not, maybe in some other places, about how the heart of the Hujjah of Allah in that Laylatul Qadr is shaqqa, it's opened, and the knowledge is written with ink of light. So it's very, very clear and very detailed knowledge.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. I think that we can take one more question,
yes,
and that's it. So this question, just to distribute the questions between the different sections, we will take something from the general question section. So the question is as follows: spiritual refraining or rai. I'm not sure what is meant. Assalamu alaikum. If I find a situation within the limits of Sharia, and I feel it is better to refrain, such as taking an item carefully from a non-mahram's hand. Is this the same spiritual refraining or riya? I think maybe they mean riya. These situations where it looks like sharia and spiritual refraining conflict. I'm sorry, I don't know if you understood the question. I didn't understand, and maybe we can rephrase it and try again.
Perhaps the question is that although something might be permissible, but it is on the limit, on the border.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
but what do they mean by spiritual refraining? What does it mean? It looks like sharia and spiritual refraining.
So maybe something is from fiqh point of view okay, but from a spiritual point of view is not okay.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah, so, in sharia, we have the red lines, which is the bottom line, and that is haram. Anything which is haram, we have to avoid. But then there are things which are not from a fiqh point of view haram, but they can be still problematic. For example, things which are makruh. It's not haram, but still better to avoid. Or things which are not haram, but because there is a doubt, there's a question mark on them, it's better, not necessary, but it's better to avoid. For example, a food that we take from a person that is a Muslim, but maybe the meat is not slaughtered properly. And there is another Muslim shop that slaughters the meat, and we are sure about it. So the first is fiqh, from fiqh point of view, is okay. He's a Muslim, and there is a possibility that he has done his, investigation or has slaughtered himself properly. From fiqh point of view, is okay. But from a spiritual point of view, you go and buy from the one that you are sure. Or, for example, speaking to non-mahram or meeting non-mahram and observing the requirements of fiqh, then becomes permissible. But even when it is permissible, you have to be careful. You shouldn't have unnecessary contacts with non-mahram, even if it is with hijab and haya, but it should be avoided, because unnecessary contacts with non-mahram, little by little, can darken our heart, and shaitan can't get in. So there are two levels of protection needed. One is to protect ourselves against haram, and that is where fiqh helps us. But second is to protect ourselves against anything which is problematic or anything which is better to be avoided. Here, we have to go beyond wajib and haram, beyond the red line and bottom line. We go further, either mustahab and makruh in fiqh, or things that we learn in akhlaq and in spirituality help us to go to a higher level.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you strength.
Thank you.
At the moment, we have only 8 more minutes left for this wonderful session. And we have, alhamdulillah, many participants. I don't think we're going to be able to go through all of them in person, unless you have